Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of The Form. My name is Tina Murphy, and tonight we will be hearing from two very different groups about the recent decision for government funding within schools. Tonight's guests will be from the Harper Lee Society and the Anti-Establishment Group. Now please, let's welcome Patrice Myrrah, speaking on behalf of the Harper Lee Society, and Myra Bolasava, speaking on behalf of the Anti-Establishment Group.
And thank you, Charles, for having me on your show tonight. As said before, my name is Patrice, and I'm here tonight as a representative of the Harper Lee Society. I would like to start by first giving the audience here tonight and at home a general overview of what we aim to achieve through the Harper Lee Society within secondary schools. The Harper Lee Society is designed to take a deep look into racism and the effect it has had on mankind. It can be said that Harper Lee was one of the first writers to publicize racism in society. To Kill a Mockingbird has become a contemporary classic in the past 50 years, giving a great influence over many of the newer books being written today. This, following the foundation that the book has made, is the reason it is seen as such a great tool for teaching current generations about racism. The funding provided from the Australian government will be spent on class sets of To Kill a Mockingbird as well as the movie for every secondary school within Australia. Additionally, fact booklets containing important dates and times can be made and used for research and learning.
Well, thank you for shedding some light on what the Harper Lee Society aimed to achieve within secondary schools. Now let's hear from Myra, who is on the opposition and believes that Australia has already produced enough comparative literature for secondary schools to sufficiently educate themselves on.
Hello viewers of The Forum. As it was said earlier, my name is Myra and I'm here today on behalf of the Anti-Establishment Group. To start off, I would like to give our live audience and viewers at home an overview of what exactly Patrice from the Harper Lee Society and I are debating about. The Anti-Establishment Group are pushing and fighting against the Harper Lee Society to not have funds put towards To Kill a Mockingbird resources within schools, as we feel that the funding could be better used on Australian literary resources. Although racism within our school is a hot topic to talk about, we believe that Australian racism history should be taught and discussed within our schools curriculum and not America's Afro-American racist history. Our students are already involved with much of America's history that we see more and more students know a great amount of information on American culture and history than their own nation. What we are trying to do is give them the knowledge of Australia's history so that our culture will not die out and will not become viewed as America's 51st state. As times have changed and ever since Harper Lee's release of To Kill a Mockingbird, people have had time to see that the novel hasn't made any impact on America's racist wars. Therefore, how will To Kill a Mockingbird have an effect on Australian culture?
So just to clarify what has been said, what specifically would the funding be spent on if it's decided that the Harper Lee Society wasn't the way for Australia's schools to learn about racism?
The money will be put towards a variety of class sets giving comparative history from the Aboriginal and European perspective in terms of racism. The Anti-Establishment Group strongly believe that there is far more sufficient and relevant novels that have been written by Australians that give a better perspective of racism within Australia. One book that has already been chosen that does cover many of the same issues as To Kill a Mockingbird is Rabbit Proof Fence. We believe that Rabbit Proof Fence would be a more suitable replacement for To Kill a Mockingbird, as it is written about the stolen generation of the Aboriginal people and gives a good perspective of the racism Aboriginals were faced with.
What is your take on replacing To Kill a Mockingbird with Rabbit Proof Fence?
My research on Australian history, Rabbit Proof Fence is one book that I came across often that dealt with many of the same topics as To Kill a Mockingbird. However, the universal following that To Kill a Mockingbird has gained is where much of the emphasis lies. To Kill a Mockingbird is considered today a contemporary classic, and the general meaning of a contemporary classic is that the book contains universal meaning, has the value of the life of its readers, and addresses important themes. Since Australia is a multicultural country, it is only fair to say that it will give the book universal meaning. Australia should not only be restricted to learning about the racist actions the Europeans directed towards the Aboriginals. It is important for secondary students to have a vast knowledge and perspective of racism, as well as learn about their own culture and history. To Kill a Mockingbird does give an overall perspective of what racism is and what impact it has had on society. By far it can be said that To Kill a Mockingbird can be classified as a contemporary classic. It may not have yet withstood the test of time, but I'm sure that one day it will be considered as a classic novel. To Kill a Mockingbird has been around nearly 50 years and is still widely talked about and referenced today. This following has great meaning and will provide initial interest for the secondary school students learning about the book.
Excuse me, could I interrupt? I would just like to make my point very clear that I still strongly stand for funds towards To Kill a Mockingbird and will be of no use or help to our school students. As what we are trying to do is teach them about our Australian history, not influence with more American culture, which is pretty much an overload within our students today.
Thank you. Now, Patrice, if you would like to continue.
As was previously raised multiple times, I would like to reiterate the government funding for the Harpally Society will benefit the Australian secondary students on a universal level. The novel gives insight into the past and how racism was viewed within the public during the 1930s. The storyline of To Kill a Mockingbird tells of how Tom Robinson, the Afro-American man accused of raping Mayella Ewell, was unjustly sentenced in court due to his colour and not the facts. The final court case scene within the book reveals subtle clues throughout the case that leads to the unveiling of what would have been Tom Robinson's saving grace. However, the townsfolk jury, while seeing the obvious information present, still put Tom Robinson away for the rape of Mayella Ewell. This certain scene would raise heated discussions within the classroom, getting students discussing racism and how life was in comparison to today.
But I still believe the funds should go to Australian literary resources. This Australian text, while not globally known for their diversity and age, still express the same image of racism within society and unjust treatment to different races. Aboriginal genocide was a big racial attack that has only recently been attempted to be rectified by the Europeans. This was a National Sorry Day on 26th of May 2008. This day was spent apologising to broken families and sharing hopeful stories of the future of all Indigenous Australians.
Alright, ladies, thank you very much for expressing your views. We're just about out of time. Patrice and Myrrah, if you'd like to give a brief closing statement to the folks at home.
My final statement would have to be that the program designed for the Harpally Society has taken years to formulate and can only benefit the students of Australia. To Kill a Mockingbird is a great representative of racism and provides a global message that will apply to all nationalities. We should never forget the past, and without it we are nothing.
In conclusion, myself on behalf of the anti-establishment group believe that there should be no funding at all for To Kill a Mockingbird or Harpally Society. The funds are better off put into Australia's Aboriginal European settlement history and resources, example books, learning materials, fact sheets and multimedia. Also the funds will be kept within Australia, both helping the nation and our schools.
Thank you to the viewers at home for tuning into the forum. Tune in next week for some more great debates. Good night.